Hey everyone, Common Teal here. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what I think is the most common problem amongst warriors. And that is that most warriors, while they're leveling, don't want to tank. This has been a common problem ever since private servers were the main way of playing vanilla WoW. And anytime I've thought to ask a warrior who's looking for a tank in a looking for group channel, I kind of just stop myself because I already know their answer. They're going to either say that they're not spec'd for it, or they'll just say that they're too afraid to tank. Now, I find this to be a particular injustice when you're playing a warrior to never tank, because as a warrior, you are the most defensive class. We have the best cooldowns for tanking, and we have defensive stance, on top of just being able to generate the best amount of threat. And I would argue that even for AoE circumstances. Simply put, when you're leveling, every spec for a warrior is a tank spec. When you tank as a warrior, you're using all the strengths available to your class, from the armor that you're wearing to the abilities that, if they're not obviously defensive, they can be used in a defensive manner. And warriors make the most use out of the forms of avoidance, block dodge, and parry while they're tanking. Now, let me get into what I think is the premier issue with anyone who wants to get into tanking, and this is threat. Threat is arguably the most difficult concept in vanilla WoW. A lot of people often don't even know why they pull threat, and that's even when it's simple as their abilities telling them this ability generates threat. I'm not about to break down the tanking rotation for you, so I'm just going to put it simply as this. When you're leveling, you should pretty much always rely on Sunder Armor. And the only time you're not using Sunder Armor is when you have Revenge, or you, at level 40, have your level 40 ability. The only hidden tool for a warrior tank is Battle Shout, because Battle Shout allows you to pull threat on a mob even when the mob has just entered combat from someone accidentally pulling. So long as no one's doing damage to that mob, a single Battle Shout will pull it to you. Now, beside your threat is a more controversial topic, and this is when or if you should use a shield. When you're leveling, you almost never need a shield, and the rule you can go by is if you're starting to drop to about 50%, put on your shield. Even at level 60, it's argued you don't need your shield in most cases. But always remember,
Shields are really good at keeping you alive.
now this does mean that you will need to make weapon macros so that you can swap between your weapons. But it's the most important for all kinds of warrior playstyle, the ability to swap from your main weapon to a weapon and shield. This is something that a warrior should learn purely for their own survival. The final point here is going to be about shield block, but not just shield block by itself. We're talking about shield block into a revenge. Now, I think some people kind of underestimate this easy to see combo. When you shield block with your revenge, this only costs 15 rage. And revenge, unless you have an old rank of revenge compared to a new rank of Sunder Armor, something that will happen while you're leveling, revenge will always do more threat. All other abilities that do not taunt a target either cost an equal amount of rage than a shield block into revenge, or it costs way more rage. Beyond this is the clear use in shield block, which is that it allows you to take less physical damage. Against a boss, this can pretty much make it to where they can never crit or crush you, provided that they're not attacking too fast or they have special attacks that will override your shield block.
He's
He's
grabbing a
grabbing
loot.
trash cans. We have to go to this trash
Let's
can.
go.